Hello friends, welcome back. I am Rajneesh and today we shall continue our session with the Kerberos. So till now what we have done is this is our infra server on which 389 directory server has been installed. This is the client which is authenticating against 389 directory server. Right now it's using both the user details including username and password from the infra or 389 directory server. So right now if we talk about the credentials, they are flowing over the network. Yes, they are encrypted, but still they are flowing across. In the last session we discussed about Kerberos authentication mechanism which never let your password flow through the network. So the objective of this lab is to configure Kerberos KDC and configure this client to authenticate against Kerberos credentials. So moving on to the infra server. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to install a Kerberos KDC on the server. So let's install the required packages krb5-server. Okay, Kerberos KDC has been installed. Now the next part is we should configure the database for this Kerberos. Okay, how do we create or initialize the database? krb5 sorry kdb5 util minus h because I don't know how to handle it. So it says create is to create or initialize the database, minus s to create the stash file which includes the Kerberos master password. So whenever you are restarting Kerberos or whenever Kerberos is trying to use its private key, it will be stored in the file that can be used by this Kerberos server. Okay, and the most important part is the ream. As we discussed in the last chapter, the ream can be considered the same as the domain except the names will be in block letters. So for our environment it is going to be labs.local. So kdb util create a Kerberos ream and the Kerberos database for it. Okay, so it is initializing the database for the ream labs.local. It's asking me for the master password for this key, and this I'm going to give as master at the rate 123, and I'm done. Okay, so Kerberos database has been created. Let me restart KDC now. It's not able to initialize because it's making use of the ream example.com. Why? Because there is a file, client file krb5.conf, which has the entry which says the default ream is example.com. We have a few entries at the bottom also. Best approach is to substitute example.com by labs.local g. So it'll say the default ream is going to be labs.local, and if we define the ream labs.local, the KDC is going to be, it's using kerberos.example.com. Rather, for our environment, let's replace example.com by labs.local. So okay, let's recall the default domain is labs.local. DNS lookup ream means whether it has to check out for the service record. For Kerberos we say no, for KDC no. Ticket lifetime default is 24 hours, that is 1 day. Renewed can be renewed in 7 days. Forwardable by default, yes. So KDC, which is the KDC server itself, infra.labs.local. Admin server, the same one. domain ream for any station inside it, labs.local, and for itself it's labs.local. So okay, let me check out a few things in var Kerberos KRB5 KDC. Here we have the configuration files associated with the Kerberos server. So I come on to kadm5.acl. As the name suggests, it consists of access control list for the users. So star dash admin means any user that I'll be creating as slash admin has star access, means he can do anything. He'll be working as an administrator. Our ream is labs.local, so I just replace example.com by labs.local. ACL is fine. Let me see kdc.conf also. Key distribution centers main configuration file, and here let me replace it by labs.local. So we are done with it. Here two important things that we'll have to look into is KDC ports, UDP and TCP 88. So in the meantime, let's create a new chain for it. And first of all, I'll show you the chain. So the first rule will be added to send all the traffic and test it against the chain Kerberos. Have we created the chain for Kerberos? Not yet. We have created. Here it is. So let's add the ports for it. -p TCP minus D port 88 minus S 192.168.1.0/24 minus J accept. So get it done for both TCP and UDP ports and save it. Okay, so Kerberos KDC is allowed access from our LAN. Okay, in the next step, let's restart KRB5 KDC. chk config KRB5 KDC on. Okay, now key distribution center is ready, it's working fine, database has been created. Fine. Now coming on to the client machine, test VM. I can have a look at the users that can log in into it. If I look into the plain etc password file and grep my name rsival, I cannot see any such user. But if I check into the database, I can see 3 users, the details of which are fetched from the LDAP. How can you say that they are fetched from LDAP? Let's have a look into the configuration file and a switch.conf which says password details are first to be fetched from files, then from LDAP. Same for shadow and group. So it means these are fetched from the LDAP, and which is the LDAP server that I am using. Cat etc ldap.conf grep LDAP. So here you can see that the URI that I am using is LDAP's infra.labs.local. So we are sure we are using the same LDAP server. Okay, so let me configure this client so that it authenticates against this Kerberos server infra. Auth config TUI. Use LDAP, fine, but for authentication I have to use Kerberos. Okay, It says I need to install the package pam underscore krb5. Okay, fine, fair enough. So click on OK, go back, cancel it, yum install krb5 uh, pam underscore krb5. So now pam supports Kerberos authentication. Remove LDAP authentication, add Kerberos. Click on next. It's fine. Click on next. Now the ream will be labs.local and KDC will be infra.labs.local and admin server infra.labs.local. Okay, now I'll try to log in into this machine using the Kerberos credentials. But before that, let me have a look into kadmin server. Kadmin.local is the command that can be used from the local KDC. In case you are trying to access it from the remote, we'll have to use the command kadmin. So list prints. If you are talking about the word Kerberos, any user, any machine or any service is a principal for it. So do we have a principal for the user RCval? No, we don't have. So user RCval cannot log in through Kerberos. So let me create it. Okay, and we have 3 LDAP users, RCval LDAP1. Let me create a principal for RCval LDAP1. Add prince RCval LDAP1 @labs.local. Let me give it the password rcval1234 rcval1234. So it has been created. Now I just quit and open the logs. What's the status of SC? It's permissive. Set enforce 1 and let me restart KDC, or I'm not required to restart it. I just wanted to make sure that SC Linux has been enabled. So if I see to the status, SC Linux is now working in enforcing mode. Tail -F. In case you find some issue with the permissions, you can just set it back to permissive mode to troubleshoot. But for security reason, it is suggested to keep it set in enforcing mode. Var log messages, var log kadmin, var log krb5 kdc. So I'll try to log into this machine. What is the password? rcval1234. I will try to log into this test machine, LDAP1, and the password was rcval1234. So here you can see klist. Klist is not there because the package which provides it is not present. The package that provides it is krb5 workstation, b5 workstation. Okay, now if I type klist command, here I can see that a Kerberos ticket granting ticket has been provided to me for the ream labs.local and it's valid for nearly 24 hours. Fine. And as soon as I log in into this machine which authenticates against Kerberos, I made a request to authentication server providing my IP address, which was 192.168.1.208. So here is what my IP address is. I send the request with the IP address and the username. This is the auth timestamp, and finally it issued me a Kerberos ticket granting ticket for this user rsival LDAP1. Fine. Now what if I am trying to access some service on the application server? Okay, let's use some other server which could work as an application server. 192.168.1.202. Okay, this is the server which is going to replicate as an application server. Fine. So first thing that we need to do is we need to log in into CentOS 6 server as the credentials of Kerberos, and right now what we are doing is we are configuring SSH service on this application server that is going to use this Kerberos KDC. So how do we configure it? First thing, the SSH service on this server should authenticate against Kerberos. So for that we'll use authconfig TUI. Okay, it's not yet authenticating against LDAP, so let's say it authenticates against LDAP, and the user information will be fetched from LDAP, and the password information or authentication information will be fetched from Kerberos. Click on next. It says NSS spam LDAPD needs to be installed. Let me open a new session and we'll install the dependencies. This is for the app server. NSS spam LDAPD. Dev CD-ROM media. Okay, in case it's not present, not an issue. The repository is not yet configured on it, so we can do one thing: /etc yum.repos.d and media. Okay, CentOS media. Let me copy it from some server 192.168.1.208 /etc yum.repos.d labs.repo, and I get it over here. Okay, OpenSSH clients is also not there. Let me copy it in the reverse direction then. scp /etc yum.repos.d labs.repo 192.168.1.208 /etc yum.repos.d. Okay, so labs.repo is now there, and let me install NSS spam LDAPD. Okay, yum repo list. There is no repository present. Where did I copy it? /etc yum.own208. The IP was not correct, it's 202. scp command is not there. I will have to install it. Okay, the simple method could be I just copy and paste this file rather than wasting the time in installing the packages. I will just install it. labs.repo. Oh, this is using media. Sorry, I'm using a different one that is local to infra. etc yum.repos.d labs.repo. So this is what we get. Test VM is also using local one. Fine, no issues. Yeah, it's fine. Labs.repo. Let me see if I can mount or let me attach CD to it as of now. Edit settings, CD drive connected, dev CD-ROM to media. Okay, could not. Okay, it's actually VMware tools. You mount media. Let me open console, VM guest. Okay, edit settings, CD1, browse. Here I can see ISO images. Where is our file? Data store, OS images, RHEL6 final, and it's connected. Okay. Sorry, we wasted some time in it. Mount. Okay, so the other thing we will be needing is pam underscore krb5, which says and which is required to authenticate against Kerberos. Okay, moving to this, click on OK. So server LDAPs, sorry, infra.ldapps.labs.local and dc equal to labs comma dc equal to local will be the base DN. Click on next. Ream is labs.local. KDC will be infra.labs.local and admin server is infra.labs.local. Okay, get ent pass WD. Can I get the details from the Kerberos server? Not yet. Okay, there is some issue with NSLCD. First of all, do we have a TLS certificate for it? CA certs labs.ca. It's not there. Let me add it from the other machine which is already authenticating against LDAP. Okay, and let's see the configuration file corresponding to NSCD. It says SSL equal to no, set it to yes, and restart NSLCD. Get ENT password still fails. There is one more file, pam underscore ldap.conf, where we'll again say SSL yes. Okay, it still fails. There could be one more reason. Let's have a look into the permissions of this file. Okay, anyone can read it, fine. Okay, slash etc nslcd.conf, and specify the file labs.ca. It's still not. Let's try to debug it. It says NSLCD, no available LDAP server is found. LDAPs infra.labs.local. Okay, let's try to ping it, and ping fails. etc resolve.conf, name server needs to be corrected. For our infrastructure it's 254. No. What's the IP address of infra server? Or we can check it out, it's 205. 205. Now let's try to get the password details, and we are able to get it, fine. Okay, and the other part, if I look into auth config TUI, it says I am authenticating against Kerberos. Let me make sure that it's working fine. rcval ldap1 rcval 1234. Am I entering the right password? Hmm 1234. Not sure, let me confirm. Duplicate rcval ldap1 rcval ldap1 rcval 1234. Password is fine, and in case I am not able to authenticate, so I expect the issue is associated with maybe PAM, or let me move to the infrastructure server and have a look into the logs. From 208, okay, vim slash etc pam underscore ldap.conf, and there should be tls underscore cassert file. So precisely specified the file labs.ca. Hmm. Let's try it now. Get ent password. It was already okay. I am not able to see the password details. I can see the password details, and if I try to log in into it, var log messages, var log secure. Let me see what's happening when I'm trying to log in into it. Oh, the username was wrong. Duplicate, and here if we see it's trying to contact from 201. Okay, Verilog messages. My machine is 202, so leave it as of now. rcval LDAP 1. What's the password? rcval 1234. So here I am able to log in into it. It received the message. KRB5KDC received a message. This is the IP address of the client, and it issued a Kerberos ticket granting ticket for it, for rcval, this one. And you can see that the home folder is not created. It's easy, you can get it created. pam underscore mk homedir is the module for it. Man command not found. Yum install man. You have to just add one line corresponding to session. So whenever user has authenticated, sorry, just copy it, /etc pam dot dssh d. It says it's using password auth. At the end, add the line, and the permissions I want is others should not have any kind of access to it. So I'll just open a duplicate session for it. Oh, sorry, password was rcval 1234. So home directory was created, and if I have a look into it, okay, for this I need to install a package which is krb5 workstation. Okay, so this is fine. Now if I type the command klist, I have a ticket granting ticket for next 24 hours, valid from, expire still, and we can renew it until this time. Fine, it's renewable ticket. Okay, now I can log in into this server, but the objective is from this client machine test VM I need to access services on this application server. Fine, let me try to log in into CentOS 6. CentOS 6. Fine, IP is fine. Our logs are on. We can Okay, let's come out of it. We have a lot of sessions. Let's reduce the number of sessions. Var log secure. Okay, if I try to SSH into it, authenticity is fine. It's asking me for the password. Let's have a look into the logs of KRB5 KDC. It received a request to the ticket granting server. Means when I was trying to get a ticket, I was not able to get. Auth time unknown client for unknown server. So this server sent to a 6.labs.local is not known to it. Okay, fine. The reason being the principal corresponding to this server is not present in it. So let's log in into CentOS 6 and use the command kadmin. Okay, it tried to log in into this Kerberos server using root/admin, which doesn't exist. Let me create it. kadmin.local and list principals. So there is no user like root/admin. You can create it with any name which you want. So as of now, I'll be creating it. Add principal root/admin at labs.local. Password I am giving is root@123, root@123. Fine, it's created. Now let me try to log in into the admin server from this machine, and is trying to log in into the kadmin server using root@123. Communication failure with the server while initializing kadmin interface. The reason being, first of all, kadmin service status, it's stopped. Start chkconfig kadmin start on. Fine. Now let me try root@123. Communication failure. Now the second part is it's the firewall. Kadmin etc services. etc services is a file which provides you which service runs on which port. So Kerberos ADM runs on port 749 TCP UDP. Let me open this port, and if you want to make sure, ps-ef grep-i kadmin, and here is the process netstat -pant grep this process ID, and here you can see that it's listening on port 3851. Sorry, this is the process ID, and it's listening on two ports, which is 749 and 464. 749, other is 464. Let me open these ports. IP tables -i Kerberos -p TCP -d port 46 749 -s our network -j accept. And let me have a look into the logs. What the reason could be. Okay, now I am trying to connect from the application server root@123, and here I got the success because I allowed the firewall rule for this network. Now first thing I need to do is I need to create a principal for this machine. Okay. uh, Add prince minus random key for the server's host slash sent os6 dot labs dot local at the rate ream. We created it, and let's download this key to this standard krb5.kdc file, keytab dot uh, standard krb5.keytab file. kt add minus k slash etc krb5 dot keytab, and which is the principal. Okay, so now this principal has an entry in Kerberos database, and the key tab has been downloaded to the server. Let me try to log in from test VM to this server now. It's still asking me for the password. Okay, let's see the reason. Ticket granting server request came to it. It said unknown client for unknown server. Okay, because let me try to restart SSHD. What's the host name? Host name is just CentOS. CentOS6.labs.local. Let me try now, because the client name was different. Okay, sent os6.labs.local, and here I am able to log in into it. Let me replay it. Now our application server is CentOS 6, this one. This is our KDC server, and the test VM is going to act as a client. I'll be opening a duplicate session for client. rcval LDAP 1 rcval 1 2 3 4. So the first time I log in into the client machine, it provides me a ticket granting ticket which is available for 24 hours. Here you can see issued with the auth time. Here sorry, it's the old one and this is the new one. Authentication request came to it, and it provides a ticket granting ticket for my user. I have it. Now if I try to log in into any application which is in the same ream as Kerberos, which is in the same ream as labs.local in our environment, so we'll be able to log in into it, getting a key for it. Till the time TGT or ticket granting ticket is available to us, we are not required to authenticate against any particular service. In case we are authenticating, it happens at the backend and it will not ask us for the password. Now let's try to log in into CentOS6.labs.local. It did not ask me for the password because I already had a ticket granting ticket, and the request was sent to the ticket granting server to provide me a ticket. So it provided me a ticket for the user rcval LDAP1 for the host CentOS6.labs.local, and it was encrypted with the private key of application server. Application server received this ticket and it was able to understand that user has authenticated himself, and it replied. So effectively, if I explain the process once again, it'll be good if you go through the yesterday's lab in which I described the things. So now they means CentOS 6, which is the application server, and this is the client server. They share a common session key, and whatever communication will happen between those two servers will happen over that session key, and now there is no interaction required with the KDC. So I hope I am able to make you understand. So this is infra server or KDC server. This is acting as an application server, and this is acting as a client. Initially a user logs into any of the server, or specifically client server. He gets a Kerberos ticket granting ticket, and whenever he tries to access a particular service, he gets a ticket from ticket granting server, and he provides his identity to the service, whether he is authenticated to access it or not, and that service should be configured or compiled providing authentication against Kerberos. One thing I have missed is /etc sshd underscore config and GSS API. So GSS API authentication is set to yes, means it's supporting GSS API and we can authenticate against Kerberos credentials. So that's it for now. Thanks for viewing the video. Have a good day.